Ladies and gentlemen, gamers, welcome back to some Monday night collegiate Overwatch. My name is Kanor. I'm joined here with my buddy Zaya from Drexel. Zaya, how we doing?
I'm doing great tonight, boss. I can't wait to see some good old-fashioned Overwatch.
Yeah, we're set up here for catching up with Team 2, Kutztown's Team 2. Looks like they are scrimming GVSU Lakeshore Blue. So I think Lakeshore Blue would probably be enough for me. Um, we're hopping in the middle of their scrim as Team 1 is trying to find a scrim at 9. You know, the 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock block is a little hard. I have a lot of familiarity with trying to find scrims during that block, and it's difficult. So if they do manage to find a scrim, we will be hopping over there eventually. But Team 2, Zaya, how much have you seen of Team 2 play?
So for Kutztown Team 2, we've scrimmed with them a couple of times, and they've definitely got some great players. Obviously, watching like the higher teams, like the Team 1s, those are going to be where you're going to get the higher levels of Overwatch. But I honestly think, as a member of Drexel's Team 2 myself, you have a lot more fun watching these guys play.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. It's similar to, you know, people who say that watching college football or watching college basketball is just more fun than watching your pro games, and it's because, you know, when you hit that pro level, like, you're kind of set for a while, and when you're in college, you still got a lot to prove, and you got something to lose, so or you got nothing to lose rather. So they kind of go crazy, and in this Overwatch scene, where they're playing around Plat, around Diamond, you'll see a lot of scrappy team fights. You'll see a lot of last second decisions that can make for a really fun game. So gonna be hopping in here. Temple of Anubis. Now, keep in mind again, we're midway through this scrim, so we'll probably already seen a lot of adaptation from these teams, a lot of decisions from their in-game leaders to stick on certain characters and stay off of others. Um, so Lakeshore Blue here is going to be setting up on defense here. So far, double shield tank with this Hanzo. I like the spam composition. It's going to be super heavy dependent on the Orisa play, and the Orisa's ability, Flabby Face here, to communicate with his team. Now, Zaya, how important on Team 2, I'm not familiar with your position on team, I think you're a tank, is that right?
Yeah, I play main tank.
Oh, well, perfect. So playing that Orisa, I mean, your communication is incredibly important, is it not?
Yeah, communication is definitely the most important thing as a main tank, but with Orisa in particular, your main goal, especially in a composition like this, where you're not doing a lot of active shooting because so much of Anubis, particularly A, is based around the chokes, is making sure that everyone's ready to collapse on your halts, because that's your most important tool when you're defending the spawn from here. Especially when you're rocking something like double shield, you need your Hanzo and your McCree to shoot your halt, because if you don't, you're getting very little value. You basically just have your little pea shooter, which can do substantial damage. But on a point like this, where most of the time the enemies are just going to be waiting around walls, you're really capitalizing off your halt, and that's the majority of the value you're getting out of Orisa.
So moving over to Kutztown here, we're seeing, for a little bit, we did see Anomaly here on the Soldier. I like the idea, but I'd like to see more of a vertical DPS from him. What he's going to have to do, and we may see this early here, is Anomaly's going to run up this right side and try to get above the point so that he can give some damage down. It's going to be difficult for him to get up on this platform that Lakeshore Blue is holding. Now we're seeing Kutztown push up here. They're going to have to stage well if they don't want to take this damage.
Yeah, this is definitely a really difficult point to attack, especially when you don't have something like a Zarya bubble. You're reliant almost entirely on your defensive matrix to keep your monkey alive. But if I'm Kutztown here, I'm just trying to farm nano. Joshy's already got halfway to that nano boost, and it's barely been 20 seconds. So if I were them, I'd just try and farm that nano boost as soon as possible, and then engage when you have the only ultimate on the field.
Yeah, this looks it looks to be the big brain play here. Kutztown just standing in this choke, taking a lot of damage and giving that ult charge to Joshi. Here he comes up on 99%, 100%. Looks like they're ready to go already.
Yeah, I think a lot of this defense is dependent on this thing. Nano boost will come in, and there's one kill the way of Kutztown. Eternal
Yeah.
Spark is low, but he's not going to fall. And with that one pick, it's pretty good. Now another one, and another one. That's 3 for Kutztown, and this is almost certainly a one fight.
Wow, I think I underestimated this smart play here from Kutztown with these tanks just purposefully taking a lot of damage early here. Anomaly! With the 2K, with that little Helix rocket, if he didn't have the soldier achievement, he's got it.
Yeah, with both of the players anti there and then the Mercy boost, you're almost guaranteed to pick up both kills. But yeah, that's one of the things that you can do on Anubis against double shield comps. Baptiste gets ult fast, but in this composition, Ana gets ult faster. And so that first attack is really important, and Kutztown was definitely able to capitalize.
Yeah, really smart thinking there, Anomaly. Like I said earlier, did take that high ground position, getting a lot of value here. We're going to see Tech use this gravitic flux really early and stop Kutztown from getting through this choke point. Just so much damage in here, and Young and Ward's going to follow up on that damage quite nicely.
Yeah, with Anubis, a lot of the times when people cap second, it's a notoriously difficult point to capture. So a lot of that is based off the snowball, based off the ults you get from defending first. So now that you've repelled that first attack, look at the amount of ults that Lakefront have right now. They've got four ults ready to go, and even with Tech Zen falling down, he'll be back really soon. But
yeah, looks like
6 ults.
He may have been a tactical throw there from him as he does switch up this character. Kutztown with so many ultimates and fatal shards with 2-piece sticky bombs running in here for Kutztown. But Lakeshore Blue fighting back a little bit. Anomaly falling to Young and Ward. Kutztown's going to have to keep up this kill feed in their favor if they want to take this point.
Yeah, they had 6 ults to attack here, and when you blow all of them at once, it's really difficult not to have a great fight. Now, the stall is coming through, and Anubis is a great point to stall, and it's up to Kutztown to see if they can finish off these kills, but with shards going down as well as the main tank from Oko, that will almost certainly spell the end of this push. Although two ticks with 4 minutes to go, I'm honestly taking that.
Yeah, that is not bad. I mean, Kutztown's going to have a little bit of a road to climb here in terms of the ultimate economy. I mean, if you look at Lakeshore Blue, I mean, we're pretty even here in terms of ultimates. We're going to see some defensive swaps here. I'm a Parasite switching over to that Brig. We saw an excellent stall from Andre, yes, or is it Ander Eyes? Who knows? On that Lucio coming in, using that big statue on the back of the point to stall, and it gave his team enough time to respawn and come back in.
Yeah, and though Texan, who was on the Sigma earlier, is going to stay on this Roadhog, and considering the fact that he got multiple picks with that hook in the previous fight, I think that this is going to do him wonders. Now, we're going to see a pretty raw fight, all things considered. Joshi does have a nano boost, but with that being the only ultimate online, it's really difficult to cap a point with just the nano boost. But it looks like here, they're going to go in, and they're going to get the pick onto the Hanzo, which is great. Yeah, although a pick comes through onto the Ana. That's rough.
Tech with a little bit of an off angle here is going to find 1 and 2 with this whole hog. Kutztown's losing numbers that they can't afford right now on a 2 CP map. Now, essentially on these maps, you have to win the fight with, like, you know, 4 extra members alive and an ultimate or 2. And, you know, like we said on the first and now second time, Kutztown's just losing too many players to sustain the respawn. That close proximity respawn that Lakeshore Blue has on point B here.
Yeah,
looking at the ultimates here,
it's definitely like an ult important map. You can't really win a dry fight when you're attacking point B. You really need those ults. You need to burst down opponents quickly, and without ults, it's really difficult to do that. So you need to really play around your ults, and they're coming up on a lot now. Fatal Shards almost has that duplicate, and they've got the Tactical Visor as well as that self-destruct. Here comes the window. Ooh, but that's a great first pick. And now the Hog from Lakefront is going to get caught out. Will he make it out? He's taking damage, but it looks like he's going to make it back to his team safely. And I'm a Parasite is already back up. And with Fatal Shards going down, I think that might be the end of this push, as they're going to have to back out. That res is really difficult to get off, but they're going to go for it. And they don't get it off.
Kutztown, despite getting that early pick, still deciding to back up and avoid that amplification matrix put down by Andre, yes, and now they're suffering for it. I mean, look at this stall here. Eternal Spark, the lone member for Kutztown left, and this is going to cost him if he can't get out here. Young and Ward's going to try to come around the backside and catch him, and it looks like he's is not able to get
That's
out
a
with
brutal
mech.
start with only a minute left. Eternal Spark also had that self-destruct, so he really wants mech back.
Wow.
And yeah, this is going to be brutal. Fatal Shard's going down as well, so there's only going to be one fight. Now, the good news for Kutztown is they're coming up on all 6 souls, so they're just a little bit away from Sunset Sloth on that Valkyrie, as Joshy's practically got the nano boost. But now, on the other side of Lakefront, they've got a lot of ults as well. They're just a little bit off the rally and the window. It's really only Flabby Face who doesn't have that bongo ready. So with about 30 seconds left, this is going to be the last fight.
Yeah, Kutztown with these ultimates, I mean, they have to spare a couple, even if they begin winning a fight here, if they want to capture this point. Kutztown taking a high ground position here against the high noon of Young and Wards in the back here is not going to pick up anything.
Here comes the duplicate. Ults are going to start flying back and forth as everyone starts pressing Q. So many things are happening, but who's going to get the first pick? It's going to be Fatal Shards, who picks up 3 with that duplicated Death Blossom. Eternal Spark does go down, but 3 and 1 is a pretty good favor as Fatal Shards picks up another. Oh, but picks coming the opposite way. Ana and Monkey down is really tough, although are they able to finish it off? I don't think so. As
Kutztown is not over yet. It's not looking great for Kutztown here.
Ooh, those are some nice shots by Young and Ward there. Although picks going back and forth across the board, but again, that's going to favor the defenses. Yeah, they are starting to pull ahead now on those picks. So close, 96.7%, and picks still going back and forth, but you have to think that this favors Lakefront. And they are able to prevent the full cap, 96.7%. So close, but so far.
Yeah, I mean, Lakeshore Blue, we saw so much good footing they got on this second point, but let's take a look here at this push here from Fatal Shards on this Echo. With these sticky bombs just did so much. This was that first push that they had. They just blew a lot of their ultimates, and Anomaly just falling there. I mean, what could have been if he managed to keep that tactical visor online. But Tech, I have to give a shout out to Tech, has been playing an excellent Roadhog, taking these little off angles that are super valuable, and honestly, it was a great swap off of that Sigma. We saw like a super interesting play from him earlier, where he kind of pushed really far forward, and it looked like he fed, but he was just switching over to that Roadhog. Another replay here from Andre, yes. I mean, the damage dealer on this team, if you take a look at the stats, has put down quite a lot of damage. And just picking up these couple extra kills on the end means a couple extra seconds on the clock for Lakeshore Blue. So, you know, we saw pretty good defense on point 2. That Kutztown had a great plan on point 1. What do you think we're going to see here on offense from Lakeshore?
Yeah, from Lakeshore, this is probably one of the more common things. Monkey with that Ana, it's so easy to take damage with your Monkey, and as long as you don't die on the Winston from Texan, you farm nano boost so fast. You saw it earlier with Joshy, and I think we're going to see the same thing from Lakefront. And meanwhile, a double shield on the side of Kutztown, they're going to be playing a very similar thing, although they'll be rocking an Echo from Fatal Shards, who's looked excellent on this pick throughout the map.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you there. I mean, Fatal Shards and Anomaly both putting in a lot of damage for Kutztown. Fatal Shards right now leading the lobby in damage with 8.2 thousand on this Echo. Is going to be picking it up again on defense. I'm excited. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I like this sneaky spot, just trying to get as much damage before as possible. But I'm worried that that's going to end up just feeding the nano boost, although it doesn't seem like I'm a Parasite is really getting that much. But again, with this comp, that's really all you can do. You get out-poked, you don't win the fight without ultimates. So you're really dependent on your ult, but it seems like they're feeding the Mercy. Instead, I'm a Parasite only with around 10% now starting to rack up. I don't think we're going to see that early nano boost that we saw from Kutztown. If anything, it's going to be the early Valkyrie, as they're just going to try and win these dry dives, but they're not really getting anything, although they are forcing Kutztown back, but is it really enough to gain any sort of positioning?
Yeah, Tech pushing up this high ground, soft diving with some defense matrix on Lakeshore's Flabby Face here. They are actually managing to take platform here from Kutztown, which is big. This gives them a lot more real estate here a couple more options that they can use to dive in, but Kutztown's keeping this damage onslaught on, and Flabby Face is going to lose mech pretty early.
Yeah, the nano boost was used there too, as well as the Valkyrie, but even with Joshy going down, I'm pretty sure that Kutztown should have this, although with the res coming through and Tech managing to pick up a couple of kills, I think Kutztown's actually falling here, and Lakefront may be able to pull this out, although ultimates are starting to come line from every member. It's going back and forth, I can't tell.
Oko did use that Gravitic Flux there right before he died, but he did not catch anybody. And that's another ultimate down that Kutztown might not have for this second point. If they lose this
here
first
comes the
point
window
position.
from Joshy, returning to point, but it's just not enough to get any kills, and Lakefront should be able to clean this up though, although it took them nearly 2 minutes to do it.
Yeah, it is costing them a lot. Kutztown, if they're using their own ultimates, I mean, it may look bad, but they're forcing Lakeshore Blue here to put in a couple of their own and invest in this first point. Looks like we haven't seen any switches here on either side for this point B. I mean, Texan just eating away at Kutztown's backline during that early fight, even after they lost that mech. It worked out for them. It really did.
Yeah, but they're going to have a hard time cracking B. They have about as much time as Kutztown did, but no big ults. Remember, Kutztown got their initial 96% practically with those that first 6 ult engage. And with only 2 or 3 on the side of Lakefront, they're going to find it a lot more difficult, especially with Kutztown having 3 of their own ready for the defense. So it's going to be really dependent on how they execute, because they do not have the ult advantage.
Wow, great shield there from Oko Bros, protecting his team. Joshy's surviving for just a little bit longer, but Tech just going in with this Primal Rage, just putting on a masterclass here on Winston. Kutztown feeling the wrath of it so far. Anomaly, Sunset Sloth, now the last person on Kutztown to try to get out. Eternal Spark with the Supercharger, last second to try to get on the point. Not a lot of damage here for Kutztown, but they do have an opportunity as they're dying pretty slow here of stalling for a little bit longer, perhaps getting a kill. Here comes Anomaly out of spawn with the Doomfist. This is what they're going to need here.
Yeah, they're going to have to find picks, and so far they haven't found any. 3 immediately fall for Kutztown. And it's up to see just how much time can they get off the clock, as they have no ultimates to work with outside of maybe that Gravitic Flux, but members falling left and right for Kutztown. I have to feel like Lakefront's just going to take this, and indeed they do. 3 minutes and 22 seconds left on the clock. So yeah, they take that map, that offense, they just went and Kutztown wasn't ready for it, and 3 of them died before they could get an ult off.
Yeah, I have to point out that was pretty much a slower, soft dive driven second point than you normally see with an offensive comp like that. I mean, you have an Echo, you have a D.Va, and you have a Winston, and you'd expect all those characters just to be in all the time. Let's take a look here at a replay here from Young and Ward's going to be duplicating this Baptiste here, protecting himself with it. I haven't seen a lot of that. Healing up the point here as well and trying to clean out Anomaly here. I mean, the damage here from Young and Ward, while he wasn't in the kill feed as much as Tech, I mean, we saw so much damage support on this Echo on both sides, Kutztown and Lakeshore Blue both.
Yeah, definitely Baptiste is one of those characters that, yeah, you can play him as a heal bot, but you have that ability to just flip the switch, turn on that window, and just pump out damage. And that's definitely something that we saw from both teams, not just from their Echoes or from their Baptiste when they were on the defense, but also from the Echo players, because copying a Baptiste, you get that window almost immediately. Immortality Field is basically another ultimate. It's definitely one of the better support swaps, although I still think that tanks are far and away the best things to duplicate as Echo.
Yeah, that Baptiste duplicate definitely slept on a little bit. It's also something that will catch a lot of players by surprise because of how fast you get that window and how dangerous that can be. Especially even after Echo leaves, right? That window will still be there for 3 seconds. So, you know, definitely a slept on pick there. But now we're switching over to Oasis here. We're looking at Kutztown playing a bit of a hybrid composition here. We have like a 2 3-man teams here. We've got a Brig Zen Soldier and a Sombra D.Va Hammond that we'll see running around. I'm expecting the D.Va because just the nature of the character is going to be everywhere at once. right? I mean, that's one of the reasons why D.Va is so good, is she can do everything that Sigma can do, but she can do it everywhere at once, and on high grounds and on low grounds. So we're gonna
Yeah, and
be
on the side
looking.
of Lakefront, we're seeing a pretty standard rush composition. Lucio Baptiste, May Cassidy, and then obviously Ryan and D.Va. And it's up to the onus is on Kutztown. They have to be the ones to get the kills and initiate, because if Kutztown do not get kills, Lakefront's just gonna sit on the point with their Lucio speed boost and sit on the high ground and just stay with their superior brawling. So it's really up to Kutztown, Lazy Turtle, and Fatal Shards in particular to see if they can get picks off, especially, and also Anomaly. Here comes the engage, but if he gets frozen up here, he's practically dead.
Lazy Turtle barely getting out with his life, but Young and Ward shutting it down. I mean, we're going to have to watch for Lakeshore Blue here to be the better rotators than Kutztown. Right now, Kutztown, two members falling, one by accident. Anomaly falling into a pit of despair before this team fight even really broke open. And it looks like it's going to be a pretty easy first point take for Lakeshore Blue.
Yeah, as a ball player, especially going into a comp with a May, with a McCree, you cannot go in alone, because if you get frozen, defense matrix or no defense matrix, you are going to die. So that's something they need to make sure that they have, like, the D.Va hacked, or the McCree hacked, or they all have to be going in at the exact same time, because a dive comp, especially with ball that's not as well coordinated, it doesn't do anything. We'll see the engage here, but there's just no one with him. He's diving alone. He does get out with his life, but what did he really accomplish with that? There's just taking more time off the clock.
I'm a Parasite making a small mistake there and actually moving
what a
Lazy
shot
Turtle
by
away
Inks.
early. Yeah, Inks on this high ground, just an absolute menace against Kutztown. These dinks, they're just so satisfying to listen to. And but from this range, I mean, Inks is probably going to have to jump down and follow, but Kutztown is just getting decimated in the choke here. And honestly, not even a lot of damage has been put out by Lakeshore Blue, but the difference is it's a lot more concentrated than Kutztown. Kutztown's got to clean up their act here. I think that they have the better composition at the highest skill rating. We're going to see Lazy Turtle again trying to bait some players off the high ground. It looks like he's going to get Tech and Flabbyface off the high ground here. Fatal Shard's looking for that EMP. He's ready and he's set up for it, and here it comes.
Here comes the EMP. It's going to hit 3, but neither of the tanks. They do get the first pick before the beat comes out, and that's huge. No Blizzard or Freeze available for Lakeshore in this fight. If they can collapse onto the Baptiste, that should be enough. Creative fight comes down, but so many ults going across the board, but I think this might even favor Lakeshore still as they get the pick onto the ball.
Yeah. And
again onto the D.Va, although Flabbyface is taken out in return. Trans comes through for Joshi, but there's only 4 players on the point. And Lakeshore still has at least 5. They still have ultimates as well, Blizzard and High Noon available. Here comes the window as well. I have to think this is just all Lakeshore right now. They haven't even lost a percent.
Yeah, all Lakeshore all the time here. Kutztown just a little bit messy here. They're using ultimates correctly, but their cleanup and their target calling definitely could use a touch-up here, as we're seeing them start to win a fight, right? Because you've got those ultimates right at the beginning, and then as soon as the fight breaks out mid-fight, we're seeing Lakeshore come forward with better target calling, better in-game leadership, and I mean, that is where you see the big difference between collegiate teams. You can have the best players ever, but if they're not communicating, if they don't know the plan, they're not going to play as well as a team with worse players and better communication. And Kutztown's going to have to clean it up here on the second half of Oasis if they want to get anything done. Lakeshore just doing really well. Cohesively, I can tell that they're a little bit more glued than Kutztown is.
Yeah, and we're gonna see a mirror here with that Ryan D.Va, that standard brawl comp, and it looks like we're even gonna be seeing the exact same characters, barring no changes. And now it's really up to Kutztown just to prove that, hey, you know, first round was a fluke. It was just a comp diff, surely. Like we have to see, do they have the better composition? No, it's this exact same composition.
Right.
We do see a swap over from Fatal Shards onto the Sim, which is something I really like on this map, although May is also really good. But maybe being able to get this to the point just a little bit faster. And yeah, we're gonna see, so no McCree from Anomaly, as he's gonna be the one to play the Symmetra. And I actually really like this. If you're both gonna be brawling, the stun doesn't really matter as much from Cassidy. The flashbang, you know, it's really not that important in this matchup. But it seems like Anomaly's just gonna go to it all the same. And it seems like both teams are gonna get to the point at pretty much the exact same time. It's up to the walls. Tanks are walled off, but are they able to collapse? Nope. Here comes the Immortality.
Young and
field.
Ward will get booped down, and now Kutztown with a man advantage for a couple seconds here. I'm not sure they realize it. They are taking a little bit of extra space here on the point here, but Young and Ward's caught out. If Kutztown realizes this, they could speed up and take him, but a great wall.
Yeah, that was a really nice play from Young and Ward. He was able to get something out of that rotation. Immortality forced out. Anomaly is the first to fall, but Kutztown still have the positional advantage, and they've capped the point. So they're getting ticks right now, although the May battle... Oh, he has to reload! No! Who's going to win the May battle?
Oh, Young and Ward will take it!
He falls immediately down to the Reinhardt hammer. Window comes out from Andre Eyes, but, you know, they still have to get onto the point. Lazy Turtle... 1 HP will go down to Texan, and now this looks like a great fight for Lakefront. They lose about 20% in the process, but they are going to gain control of this point.
Yeah, I mean, Lakeshore Blue with great discipline on the backside of the point, despite losing a couple players. They took advantage of the fact that Kutztown did not push them. They kept them in that choke, even with a man advantage there, and they decided to stay, and Lakeshore Blue stayed there. They kept the space that they were given by Kutztown, and when they had the man advantage, they pushed in and they collapsed in on that inside.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty ult-heavy fight as I'm a Parasite gets caught out early. Blizzard is going to come down now, and with Fatal Shards already down, yeah, this is looking like a rough fight. You did force 2 ults, but a great shatter there. Lazy Turtle's going to pick up Young Word, but it's just more picks coming the other way, and I still think that Lakefront should have this fight, although Texan falling on the back end makes this really difficult. Not having a Reinhardt means most of your point presence is gone. Windows coming out to secure the point.
Oh, Inks with the flank of a lifetime. Wow, he went for the clip. He wanted to be on the poster in your bedroom, but unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be Lazy Turtle coming through here with the hammer.
Yeah, and it didn't even cost them that many ults to do it. They had to window and they had to shatter, but Lazy Turtle almost has another one ready, 80%. And they have every other ultimate online. Now, that's not to say that Lakefront don't have any ults, but they don't have that Blizzard that Fatal Shards does, and they don't have that Shatter that Lazy Turtle's about to have. So this should definitely favor Kutztown as they're about to catch up in percentage.
Yeah, Flabby Face has got a really important job here. He's got to listen for that May ultimate and have Defense Matrix ready. Looks like throwing it won't.
Coming through. Oh, he got stunned. Oh, Lazy Turtle's going to go down, but a great Blizzard, although with 2 already down from Kutztown. Can they even capitalize off of this? They still haven't found a pick, despite the Blizzard going down, and as Flabby Face picks up another, this should be it for Lakefront, with only... They didn't have as many ults as Kutztown, but they used theirs aggressively, and that was a pretty big key.
Yeah, we saw a bit of a miscommunication in how they were backing up. Kutztown, Lazy Turtle backed up to the right side of the point, towards that stairwell that leads down to the low ground, and the rest of the team backed up into that health pack room, and because of that, I mean... Kutztown was left without anyone in front of them with a big blue rectangle, and now, I mean, pushing in here, they will at least have the Earth Shadow to play aggressively. Looks like they're going to be using the Speed Boost to go in really far here. Anomaly finding too early is big for Kutztown.
Yeah, they shouldn't need any more ults
from Tech.
Oh, but a great beat from Sunset Sloth, managing to avoid that Earth Shatter and effectively counter. Window comes through as well to secure it. They used 3 ults to Lakefront's 1, but they've secured the point, and they're pretty soon going to be approaching last fight. They'll have the Shatter up, but nothing else. Meanwhile, Lakefront, they've got a Blizzard, they'll have a High Noon, and probably a Window as well.
I think Kutztown's got to meet them early here. They're not taking the space that they could. They could be forcing a longer push here and a more arduous run through the library here. Kutztown deciding to meet them on point. I mean, a lot of ults here for Lakeshore Blue. This could be a big fight for them. Kutztown just stalling with this wall early here. It's going to give them a couple extra percent and rip from that.
Oh, Texan's down. They don't have anything to stop the Shatter. He's going to get it off. Lazy Turtle went down, but he got the Shatter off
on the point.
But the Blizzard from Young and Ward is just too good, and it looks like kills are going Lakefront's way. It's back and forth.
Oh, it's a 2v2 now on the point.
So big. Yeah, this is just
Kutztown
back
now
and
a
forth
3v1.
now.
Eternal Spark, the lone member of Kutztown, to try to hold it down. Lazy Turtle's back with some damage, but it's not enough. Eternal Spark has lost his mech. He's going back around to get a health back, but Kutztown still does own the point. They do have a little bit of time here. Even if they do lose the point, they can come back with a couple percent and regroup here. Fatal Shard's trying his best to try to freeze Tech out of this position here, and he gets his ultimate eaten by Flabby Face!
Rough from Fatal Shard. That is probably the most important ultimate that you could have to retake this point. And now you won't have that available. Stall's still coming through, but it should be done any second now. Is, yeah, gonna go over to Lakefront, and now look, no ults available. They're on a weird hybrid comp. And this is definitely gonna be an uphill battle. And look, I'm a Parasite still has that beat, so this is gonna be a monster. And this is gonna have to be a monster fight from Kutztown. They are gonna touch the point, but with their Diva already down, as Eternal Polar should get cleaned up here. He comes through, mines as well. This should be it from Lakefront if they can just finish these last few targets. Lazy Purple Fallen, so is Fatal Shards. And they really just need to clean up these last few members. Eternal Shards down. Yeah, that should be it. It's just the Moira on the point, and Joshi should get cleaned up any second now. Sunset Sloth is able to touch, but overtime burns away. And 2 points over to Lakeshore.
Yeah, I love this last map. I mean, it was so back and forth in the middle, and that amazing push from Lakeshore with only a couple ultimate advantage. They took so much space from Kutztown. Let's take a look now at a replay here from Lazy Turtle. He's going to catch a couple, and a couple important characters at that, finding Tech and Youngin Ward, and bringing Flabby Face with him. This was a fun fight to watch. I mean, there were so many ultimates flying, and it was honestly hard to keep track of, but Kutztown did come out on top in the end there.
Yeah, we're going to be looking into City Center, but first we'll take a look at a really nice McCree ult. They used that Lucio speed boost and just walked at the Reinhardt, and they just... Youngward and I'm a Parasite just got caught in front of the shield, so that was a really nice set play from Kutztown. But here we are on City Center.
That
we're gonna
McCree
see the ball
ultimate
pop
there
from...
reminding me a lot of the old Beyblade days with the speed boost, nano boosted Reaper ultimate. Moving over to our third map here on Oasis City Center, dive comps on both sides.
Yeah, but something interesting I've noticed that the support lines are completely different. From Kutztown, you see a more traditional Zen Brig, and it looks to be working out great as two have already fallen from Lakeshore, who are playing a more different style of Ana Mercy, which you usually see with the Winston comps. But just I think not having that Discord and not having that peel for your Ana is where the Brig is just Brig Zen is, I just think, better in this matchup.
Yeah.
You also don't have a stun, excluding the sleep dart from Ana. You have to hit the ball with that, and that can be a little more difficult than it seems. And you have no peel for Parasite. Parasite's gonna have such a difficult time dealing with the Echo in the sky. Nice sleep though on Anomaly, which will allow them to approach. But what is once that sleep dart's down, what does Parasite do when there's a ball and Tracer in his face? Like, they'll just die.
Yeah, I do like the support line.
Parasite's already down.
Yeah, Kutztown taking advantage of that dive target. I'm a Parasite, just an open invitation on this Ana to get jumped on. And now Kutztown, while losing the high ground, also will gain a kill though. I mean,
yeah,
a positional advantage
they're not
here.
playing together.
Yeah.
Yeah, their Ana wasn't, or their Zen wasn't with their Brig, so the Zen went down, although a really nice pulse bomb on Andreas as Fatal Shards picks up 2. And that should be enough to stabilize, as they've already collected nearly 50%. As Inks tries to get away from Fatal Shards, chasing him down, but with just a few points of HP, Fatal Shards is going to win the Tracer 1v1. And I'm a Parasite, barely going to get out with their life. But yeah, again, it's just so difficult to keep people alive without a Brig in this matchup.
Yeah, I do love Kutztown's support lineup. I think that the Brig Zen can be slept on pretty easily, and Tech Zen, oops, right into the pit in spawn. Must have forgotten about the grapple maximum time there. He's probably still a year in the past on Wrecking Ball right now, but I'm sure he just got brought to the future. Kutztown with a couple ultimates here. They're gonna have to spare a couple if they want to win the fight after this one.
Well, they've got fight. It's 85%. I don't even think there's going to be a fight after this one. Pulse Bomb is eaten, but again, I'm a Parasite is already down. Transit there to make sure that Joshi escapes and no one dies. And yeah, I think that might be it. Kutztown might, with just really only 2 fights, have won the entire map, or won this round. Definitely coming back. They didn't win the map. Close there from Texan, but just not able to get there in time. And Although Lakeshore did win the map, that one's got a stink, getting completely rolled. Not a percent on Control Center.
Yeah, I mean, Kutztown putting their foot down, if you would, with that Echo comp. I think showing why they choose to go with that Echo comp on a bunch of other maps as well. We saw them try some different stuff out on that first Oasis map. And I mean, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that this is a scrim, right? This is not time to bring out your best composition every time. It's time to experiment. It's time to figure out what can work. And even if it doesn't work, it's time to work on those compositions to make them work. So I will respect a team more that is there to learn than one that is there simply to win. And I think, I mean, no shade to Lakeshore Blue. They have their bread and butter and they play it well. But shout out to Kutztown for trying something new and putting themselves out there with these compositions.
Yeah, ball comps are definitely a little harder to execute, as we saw on Gardens. It's just the coordination you need, especially against a rush comp with Baptiste and May and so much just beefiness in that front line with everyone playing together. But when it's just really an Ana with like maybe a Mercy pocket, that's when the ball comps, you don't need pinpoint perfect precision from every member on your team. Really just ball diva or ball tracer, or even just tracer. Like you really only need 2 people to kill an Ana there. So I think it definitely showed that they do know how to play the ball comps. It's just a lot harder when you're playing against Baptiste, Lucio, Ryan.
Looks like we're going to be switching now gears over to Havana. Now, a more sniper, more long-range based map. I'd love to see Lakeshore's snipers. We haven't really seen any hit scan except for Inks on the McCree. So, I mean, Havana being such an incredibly long-range focused map, they're going to have to switch gears here and play some more, you know, rotates, play some off angles here. The game is really going to switch up here on this map.
Yeah, so we're not really sure what we're going to be seeing on the offense, but it's probably some type of double shield. But if what I'm getting is correct out of Lakeshore on the defense, a really common strategy on Havana is to go that rush comp that we've seen so much of from Lakeshore and just stand at the door, spawn camp, take as much time as you can off the clock, because you can pretty consistently get 3 fights. You can see them getting ready. As soon as the doors open, they're just gonna speed boost their way over to the door and just sit there. And it's gonna be up to Kutztown to see what they can do to get around it.
Yeah, it can be super difficult at first because you can be caught off guard pretty often with a composition like this. But I mean, the way you respond shows, you know, how good of a team you are. So we're gonna have to see Kutztown take these off angles here and try to catch these supports out of line. We see Fatal Shards with an off angle on Andreas, taking him out really good. Yeah,
that's one way to do it. They were prepared for that. They came around the right side there, forced everyone to look over there, and then just have Fatal Shards pop up around the corner. Baptiste dead. You can't hold that. Like, even if you get killed here, it's just how much time can they take off the clock during this one fight. But with your Baptiste down, there's no way you can sustain this. And with Texen going down, it's only a matter of time as snipers from Kutztown are really showing that they have the precision to play these more skillful DPS, and another headshot from Anomaly. Although he does go down at the end of the
without a fight. Yeah, I mean, Inks on this Cassidy here has been doing work against Kutztown, even when he's the solo member alive for Lakeshore Blue, has just been putting damage downrange. But Fatal Shards with that first pick, like you said, is just so crucial for Kutztown. Such an important target, that Baptiste, before that Immortality field to get used, taking him out of the game.
Ooh, nice shot from Youngenward predicting, but Texen going down is a lot more important, as I'm a Parasite falls as well. And this is just really rough from Lakeshore. They tried to do their spawn camp strategies, but they were countered so well by the snipers out of Kutztown. And now they're just staggering as well, as Lazy Turtle picks up a late kill on a Youngenward, who's the majority of their long-range damage here. And this just seems like Kutztown are going to roll straight through point A.
Yeah, getting the cart around the corner is super important for them. You're going to see Kutztown snipers spread out and take a couple of different angles here to make it as hard as possible for Lakeshore Blue to get in here. But wow, Fatal Shards with a great hit. And a good idea there from Flappy Face with that self-destruct, but nothing came of it, unfortunately. Texan with a 3-man Earth Shatter on a Kutztown is going to push him out and force that Immortality field out of Joshi. But no kills in the kill feed for it.
Oko's gonna pick up 3 with that bongo, just having that much boosted damage. You add a mercy boost to it sometimes, and when you're hitting the headshot, Orisa does a lot of damage, especially close range. The crunch is gonna take down Sunset Slot. That's a little unfortunate in the mercy player, but all things at the end of the day, point got capped.
Yeah, I mean, we saw almost every member of Kutztown in the kill feed in that fight. I mean, Sunset Sloth unfortunately being on the wrong side, on the wrong time, but you hate to see it. You hate to see it.
Yeah, Fatal Shards has been doing so much work on this Widowmaker. I mean, Havana is definitely a Widow-favored map, but we're already with the second infra side of the game. Window is going to come out from Andreas. Ooh, and Baptiste goes down. 2 picks coming the other way. Picks are going back and forth, but that Baptiste is the most important one, and Lakeshore is going to be able to defend this, although it did cost them a couple of ults.
Wow, Fatal Shards is in your house right now. I don't know how he got back there with Sunset Sloth, but did get a couple of picks from that long flank. It did pay off a little bit for Kutztown, but unfortunately not enough to, I don't think, really warrant that much time spent walking around when your team was just getting destroyed up on this high ground.
Yeah, Fatal Shards is also going to make a switch here over to Ash, which I really like. It's a little bit harder to find these headshot opportunities on this map, but Dynamite is such a good ability on this point. There's so many little angles that you can fire in a Dynamite, pop it. Here comes the Dragon from Young and Ward, and they're going to go in again. Joshi falling first means that this fight is all but doomed, although the res is going to get off. That's great positioning from Sunset Slot. So one ult, Shatter comes through though, and that's massive, onto 4 from Kutztown. And with that ultimate from Texan, they used 2 ults there, but they did secure another fight win.
Wow, the first team kill bell ring we'll hear tonight. Hopefully not the last. I mean, winning that team fight with such few resources is really good news for them, as they're able to keep a lot of theirs online for this next team fight. I mean, keep an eye on Flabby Face. This mid fight's gonna need a self-destruct to kind of disrupt Kutztown and catch some players who are out of position. Anomaly here in Lazy Turtle 2 with a bit of a combo ultimate here with the Spermitic Flux and the Dragon. Going to use the Dragon early just to force him out of the way, but nothing will come of it.
It does get the lamp from Andreas, and that's pretty cool. Here comes the self-destruct. Let's see if it gets anything from Flabby Face, and it does. Sentinel goes down, and a charge from Texan. He's going to pick up Anomaly. So no matter the ults, they start with this 2 down. I'm a Parasite does fall, but again, with Joshi falling, that's pretty much the death knell for this push. Maybe some exit frags, but it doesn't seem so, as Flabby Face in the backline just cleans up, finishing the fight with 3 kills. And although they did so well on point A, it seems like Kutztown's really hit a wall in this indoor section.
I like what they're doing here, though. They're switching up, right? If they keep hitting a brick wall, like, you know, try something else. So they're going to switch over here onto the Winston and the Soldier 76. Joshi on the Ana now. Going to try to find a nano boost for his team. Fatal Shards with this Bob's probably going to use this to disrupt the backline of Lakeshore Blue. I'm hoping to see a good dive here, and it looks like we're seeing the start of a good one.
Oh, but in Valkyrie, Sunset Sloth goes down. That's a great shot from Young and Ward, utilizing that window to just pop the Mercy. And yeah, they got Sunset Sloth, and that's the fight. Like, these support kills are so important from Lakeshore. Yeah. They're doing a great job of identifying the key targets and taking them out of the sky.
Yeah, Lakeshore only using 1 ultimate that last fight is big. I mean, look at the clock. There's less than a minute left, and they've got 4.5 ultimates online here.
Another pick from Young and Ward. Shatter comes down and actually ends up killing Joshi. But yeah, again, 1 ult, 1 fight. And now this is 1 fight territory. Lazy Turtle getting staggered as well. This is rough. You've got 3 and nearly 4 ults on the side of Lakeshore and nothing from Kutztown. This is definitely favored against them.
Yeah, I mean, Lakeshore basically saying, Kutztown got lucky on this first point here. We may have gotten caught, you know, not paying attention here, but we're the real gamers. And however they can hold this second point will prove that Kutztown did just get lucky with these picks on first point.
Yeah, Lazy Turtle already demexed, and that's not a great sign for Kutztown. First pick will be big, and it's on to Anomaly, so that's 1 down from Kutztown. Here comes the bomb, ultimates flying everywhere. But no more deaths as of yet. Joshi's got the nano boost out. It's on to Oko, but here comes the beat, and Sunset Sauce falling, as is Oko, even with that nano boost. And that should be all she wrote, as Kutztown fails to make it any further. than point B.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we saw here was Kutztown was forced to switch off the Widowmaker for the second point here. What I think we did see is a bit of a weakness in their armor with this Widowmaker. Let's take a look at Young and Ward with a couple of shots here on Kutztown. Great coverage of the stairs with that Dragon Strike, and he's going to push down low to find some players on that Mega Health Pack. We've got one more replay here from Young and Ward, who just dominated Kutztown on this map.
This is just an amazing pick. This was onto the Valkyrie. Mercy just takes the shot, and it goes through the window. That's a one shot onto those 150 HP, 200 heroes. And yeah, great stuff. Now, on the defense from Kutztown, we're not going to see them do the spawn camp that Lakeshore was doing. They're very standard, very traditional Havana. Double shield, you got long range damage as well as Mercy. So it's up to them to say, hey, we're not only dependent on the Widow, we've got other characters. Meanwhile, a ball comp that, although this one they've swapped over to the Zen Brig, which I like a lot more. You just have, the Discord is just so powerful. Although playing against double shield is a little bit different than another ball comp, but I'm really interested to see what they can get with this ball comp. It's definitely something that can work, although I think they'll have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be down to these solo players. I mean, you're gonna have to see like mechanical prowess here from Inks and Young and Ward and Andreas. I mean, these long-range spams have got to get value if they want to get Kutztown off this high ground, deal any damage. And there's the first pick, right, for Kutztown. I mean, you're caught behind this little cart, and Anomaly taking advantage of that. And also, we have Fatal Shards with these dynamites. I mean, they've got nothing to hide them behind this little cart. Kutztown taking advantage of that pretty early.
Shards. Great work from the DPS from Kutztown, and I mean, looking at the comps, you don't want to be stuck out. Like, yes, you have the Zen and you have the Echo, but you do not want to be caught in a long-range battle. Just the double shields and the Hanzo and the Ashe is just so much more damage. Although, with Anomaly falling, Young and Ward's going to fall in turn. Dive is on to Baptiste, and it is going to take him out. They got separated, and Bap was alone on the high ground, so despite the compositional issues, although the res is going to come through, although Sunset Sloth will fall for it, Flabby Face doing a great job on this Diva, just diving targets. Ooh, great shots from Inks. So they got caught a little bit out of position after that first fight that went so well for Kutztown, but now it seems like Lakeshore is in control.
Kutztown using a couple ultimates to back up here. Yeah, they're just trying to get out alive, and it looks like they're going to get a couple kills too.
Not without losing some people though. Sunset Sloth and Joshi goes down. Andreas picks up another, and Inks as well. They almost had it, but I think that's not going to be enough. Bobby's going to come out, and that is a huge thing. It can contest the point and get kills, although Andreas, with barely a sliver of HP, manages to hang on. Oh, but I think that's going to be it. Bob just melted away, and yep, Kutztown not able to hold, and now they have no ult online. They've made a few swaps with Fatal Shards over to the Tracer, but Transcendence is online. I'm a Parasite's almost got Rally. High Noon is coming in soon, as well as Duplicate and Self-Destruct, and this is going to be really hard for Kutztown to hold.
Texan with a great little move there. Unfortunately, didn't catch any Kutztown members off their guard there. We're going to see some ultimates flying here. Oko Bros will meet his Gravitic Flux with the Transcendence of Andreas, so nothing going on so far.
Yeah, an even trade, but there's that Bongo, and that's going to take down Inks. Bongo is down, but the damage is done. Andreas is also going to get fall on the backside of Fatal Shards. She's made a great swap over to Tracer. Almost already has that Pulse Bomb online. So great work from him so far. He is going to fall, but rezzed immediately, and it seems like Kutztown is able to stabilize, but they're going to be walking into 5 ults from Lakeshore as we see Anomaly try to climb that wall.
Yeah, we're going to want to see Texan's placement of these mines here. Kutztown has an advantage on this high ground as it's a very thin spot, right? Texan's going to have to use these proximity mines in a very precise way if he wants to get value on Kutztown. Swinging up here, looking for it, and won't find it right now.
Here come ults. Bomb comes out, Dragon comes out. You either get picks, but it's the space game that matters. Great Pulse Bomb, taking down both DPS. Fatal Shards has really proven that the Tracer is something to be feared. I'm a Parasite goes down as well as Andreas. And although the bombs are out from Wrecking Ball from Tenzan, it's just not enough. That play from Fatal Shards just won that fight. Like you got
Yeah.
a 2-man pulse bomb. That's it. That's done. Fight's over.
Yeah, I mean, that's big for Kutztown. Even though it took them a little bit longer to clean up, which I think honestly is good for them as it's more time and more ult charge for them. But I mean, winning that fight just on that one pulse bomb, since it's such a cheap ultimate, you can get it so quickly. It's definitely rare to see, but when it happens, it's definitely a treat.
Two ults though. Two ults for Kutztown. They're probably going to end up winning this fight as EMAC comes through. But it seems like they're committing to it. Ryan charged into the back line. And it's going to be enough disruption, although Texan will fall. Ultimate's flying across the board, but I think Kutztown still has the advantage in numbers, as this duplicate is going to run out. One more flux, and it's going to be massive, but doesn't get it off. Dies right before he can finish it. Dude, I have to say, I don't really agree with the swap over to the Reinhardt from Texan. You just don't have the resources to support it. Like, you're going against Baptiste, and you have Zen Brig, which is really good for those long range, you know, those dive style, those long range hit scan. But in a Rhine comp, Zen Brig is not just enough, but Anomaly just playing, not respecting the damage from Lakeshore enough, and has to get rezzed out in the middle of nowhere. Shatter comes through though, and that's massive. Dragon comes down though, and I'm a Parasite down as well as Flabby Face. Great play. The DPS from Kutztown really coming in strong as Anomaly avenges his early death. And again, Fatal Charge with another Pulse Bomb, and Kutztown is barely being able to hold on. And they've still got a couple of ults to hang on with.
Yeah, I respect them playing like it is, you know, a regular competitive game. A lot of teams on this Scrim code will just let the cart move, even though they haven't won or lost the fight yet. Kutztown playing this map like it's their last. I mean, honestly, I think Texan right now is just trying to do too much. He's using his ultimates, but he's just going in too far right now. And this Reinhardt switch, honestly, is not helping him out.
Yeah, but now we've seen the support line switch, and they're on to Lucio Bap, which I like a lot more, although Texan still falls, but they've gotten an ult out. They've gotten an ult out of Kutztown, and they've still got at least one more fight left to win. Although they're going to be walking into probably a Valkyrie and maybe a Gravitic Flux, although they'll have a High Noon, maybe Shatter, maybe Dragon, as well as a Bomb. But I like the Lucio Bap. If you're going to go Rhine, just go Rhine. Play a Rhine comp, and that's what they're doing. They're probably just going to try and force their way onto this high ground, and that's a lot easier with a Baptiste on your side.
Here come the ultimates up onto the high ground.
Flabby Face. Ooh, Joshi goes down. That's so huge. I don't even know if the rest can come out in time. And again, these early ults point. So the game is technically won now, as Lakefront has pushed over. But we're on Scrim code, so the game continues. I'm a Parasite. Tracks down Anomaly. But it's up to see. Can Kutztown defend this second point?
Fatal Shards 1v1ing in the backline. We'll find another stick on a Youngenward. This gives Kutztown an opportunity to retake here on defense before they take
That is going to be a trade, but honestly, I think you take that. Fatal Shards is going to get back faster. Flux, but dies from Oko. A rare mistake from him as he's just not able to get it down, but they get off the point. That is a good old-fashioned Charlie Niner. As,
letter number here.
Pressure from Kutztown is just enough to force Lake Shore off the front, but they did win the map.
I mean, Fatal Shards on this Ashe did get to play the game. We're going to be seeing a highlight from it. These shots are so accurate. It's going to also be jumping down here after and just dealing so much damage. Wow, 3 great picks. I mean, early just blowing that fight open for Kutztown. There's nothing you could do if that much damage comes down. And
yeah, Fatal Shards definitely has the accuracy to play that Ashe, although yeah, Fatal Shards definitely showed up big on this map, on the Ashe, but also on that Tracer, swapping to it after that Ashe wasn't working. Great Pulse Bomb there. It takes down both DPS, and especially with Anomaly falling, that was such a huge lift there. As here, we can see it again. Boop, just gets them both. Like, that's such a huge play from Fatal Shards.
Yeah, just finding that opportunity and taking it. And it looks like the teams are deciding that that is it for the night, as it is the end of their Scrim block. So a little bit of a shorter stream today. A little bit of a shorter stream, but honestly, that was super action-packed for how long we were in there.
Yeah, we definitely saw a lot of great back and forth picks. Nothing ever really felt that one-sided, except for maybe a few maps on Oasis. Great play for both teams. The DPS players were going off, but the tank players were incredibly consistent, and even the support players got some fragging done, especially Andreas on that Baptiste. They look like a monster on that character.
Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed with some of the adaptation that we saw from Kutztown tonight. Um, right when we joined here, we saw them on Anubis, and we saw a little bit of play that, um, other teams probably wouldn't even try. Standing in choke, taking a lot of damage, getting that nano, and it worked out for them, and that was a great, way to start it off for us. And also Lakeshore Blue, I think, just the more consistent team right now. Um, Looks like we've got Jack here, Fatal Shards from Kutztown, who's going to be joining us for an interview.
Yeah, definitely great work from Jack all throughout that match, man. The Echo, the Ash, the Tracer, all just fantastic throughout every map.
So, Jack, are you there? Can you hear us? Looks like we're just waiting on him to get in here. We saw, I mean, the dominant echo play at the beginning is something I want to touch on because the sticky bomb usage was so important um, for Echo with that dive. Um, so much damage so quickly, and especially if teams are grouped together. And as an Overwatch player, you're kind of supposed to be with your team, unless you're playing like a weird gadget comp where you're super spread out. The sticky bombs kind of punish something that is kind of ingrained into these Overwatch players' heads.
Yeah, and another thing with Echo is that ultimate duplication. It's one of the strongest ultimates in the game, and Fatal Shards was able to use it to great effect on Anubis. We often saw him going into the Reaper and managing to pick up kills. That's such a good ult as well because you spend so many resources trying to deal with the Echo. Now she's Reaper. Now she's killing your team with a Death Blossom that you don't have Matrix for because you already tried to Matrix the stickies. It's just great work from Echo players who are able to use that ultimate effectively. It's something that is pretty difficult to do, all things considered.
Yeah, Jack, are you here with us? Can you hear us? Um, yeah,
Yeah, it
just
seems
looking
like
at
we're having a bit of a problem with our thing, but no worries. I'm sure we've got plenty of time to get this interview.
Yeah, so coming from a tank player here, yeah,
Hmm.
what did you see tonight? I mean, we saw a lot of kind of hero moments from the main tank on Lakeshore Blue. Just do you think he went a little too hard sometimes and maybe pushed too hard or overcommitted?
I mean, there's an occasional part where you go overboard, but I think intentional or unintentional feeding is kind of part and parcel of that main tank playstyle. And one of the things that stood out to me about Texan's play was that ability to not just be like a traditional main tank player. Like when we saw on Anubis, he'd swap over to the Hog and he'd put it to frighteningly good use. He managing to stuff cuts down on multiple pushes. Just send out that hook, get a pick, throw a whole hog in there, you're done, and he made that look really, really good. And then, of course, the Reinhardt play from him as well when he is playing like a traditional main tank was fantastic. Just multiple times getting multi-man shatters, and his neutral play was pretty good too. He wasn't really getting caught off guard that much. He played pretty safe, especially on a map like University where that's pretty difficult to do.
Yeah, I love the Winston play. I mean, he was able to switch from character to character and still get value, like you mentioned on that Roadhog. We saw Sigma play, we saw Reinhardt play, and we also saw Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball, I think most of tonight, except for Reinhardt, probably favors more of that ground-based kind of blue rectangle man, as I like to call him. But yeah, I think a lot of potential in that character, and like you mentioned, like the intentional feeding, right? As a team, even if your tank is wrong, especially your main tank, your main tank is right, right? And if you look at it that way, then that intentional feeding turns into a strategy. I think it was Jane who said, if you're doing something stupid alone, you're doing something stupid. But if you're doing something stupid together, it's called a strategy. And I think, especially with super aggressive main tanks, you can utilize that kind of play style to your advantage.
Yeah, it's definitely something that, can be used effectively. Is, a little bit of over aggressiveness, especially when you have your team ready to follow up on the opportunities given by that over aggressiveness. But talking about that ball comp, I want to bring up the times that we saw ball comp from Kutztown, which was primarily just on Oasis City Center. But they utilized it so efficiently, especially with the lack of a break from Lakeshore. Just getting on to I'm a parasite and just obliterating them. Like the Ana was not allowed to play the game during that map.
Yeah.
Oftentimes the ball and the tracer, the ball and the diva, you just slam them and then open fire from your off tank or your damage. And I think that's definitely a composition that I'd like to see more out of Cuts B, as it's definitely a look that they've shown that they can pull off.
Yeah, great shot calling from them. The target calling is super important. I mean, target calling on those type of compositions is pretty much everything. Um, and choosing to go for those, more diveable, less mobility characters like that Ana, like maybe that Brig if Ana is dead, or that Cassidy. I mean, that's where you find really good dive teams. I think Kutztown played a great dive tonight. Um, Lakeshore Blue played a pretty good dive. I think that their coordination could use a little bit more polishing. But honestly, I think Kutztown's coordination in the dive composition with all that echo damage, the ground soldier damage, which did surprise me a little bit tonight, and its effectiveness. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with Kutztown B. I haven't spent a lot of this semester following Kutztown B, and it's always a treat. Excuse me, a treat to uh, you know give some time to them, come back and see how they have improved as a team, and they definitely have. They definitely have.
Yeah, like obviously the team one is where a lot of your attention is going to. That's the main team, the main squad that's representing the university. But don't forget about these reserve players, man. Some of them got some pretty nasty moments, and these second teams can definitely show up, as I can speak from experience. But yeah, it was definitely nice to see some of what Cutsdown's bringing outside of their main roster, and it looked pretty good. I think obviously there are a few things they've got to work on. I noticed they struggled a lot against that Reinhardt Lucio Baptiste comp. That's a comp that's pretty easy to play. All things considered, you just go as a death ball and you run into people. And playing against that, especially when you're not on the mirror, because on university they seem to handle it pretty well. It went to 99.99. That's pretty close. But the other two times where they were playing something else, they were playing double shield on Havana, and then they were also playing that dive on Oasis, in particular Gardens, and they seem to struggle against it when you're not playing the mirror. And I think that's something that they maybe could work on.
Yeah. Speaking of things we could work on, Jack, can you hear us? Just third time's the charm here tonight. Um, just we are using some brand new technology here, um, and just a couple of hiccups as there probably always will with stuff like this. But we'd love to hear your feedback on tonight's stream. Make sure that you follow us here, and down below in our about us section are our other socials. Um, take a look. Jack, can we hear you?
Hello. Sorry, we were having some technical difficulties, but everything's good.
Yeah, good. Well, welcome to the stream. Um, we
Thank
did
you.
jump in halfway uh, into the scrim tonight, so if you could maybe fill us in a little bit on the first half, what happened, maybe how you guys adapted, what worked and what didn't.
Yeah, so we a lot of what Team Two has been doing recently has been trying to run a ball comp. We're trying to shift off of the Winston because ball is just a better tank in the current meta. So we tried running a lot of ball whenever we played dive, and it definitely needs some work. We were getting roughed up pretty bad. There were a couple different DPS on both sides. There was a tracer mirror, but we had a soldier and they had an echo and stuff like that. And then, we ran the standard Rhine stuff, and we had a little bit of difficulties with that. Mostly, I think our problems were just taking a lot of damage and dying a little bit too much. And if we can keep trying to prevent taking that damage, then I think we're going to be in a lot better shape.
Yeah, we saw a
Yeah,
bit of
I honestly the
speaking of. Sorry, go ahead, say.
uh, Oh yeah, I was gonna say the ball comp definitely did not look like it was something you were just working on. It seemed to be one of the more practiced compositions that we saw. I mean, you struggled a little bit the first time you brought it out on Gardens, but every other time you brought out that ball, it looked fantastic. Especially with you on that Echo, just putting on a monster performance. Whether you were on the Echo or the Tracer, it definitely seems like those dive style heroes are your specialty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when I had first started playing the game, I played a little bit of Genji, and then I knew about Tracer and Soldier, and played a little bit of that. So, getting back to my roots with Tracer after a while and playing the dive characters, dive is honestly the more fun meta for me to be playing. I really enjoy playing that kind of comp.
yeah. We saw on Havana you bust out the Widowmaker, and I mean to great results. I mean, what was your goal there, especially against the spawn camp kind of style composition on Widowmaker? Kind of go through your game plan on what your job
Um,
is.
yeah, so Widow is the standard hit scan sniper one shot character, and usually, if you go upstairs in the attacker's spawn, you can see through a window. And normally, if the enemy is running like a double shield comp, they'll be on the high ground across from you. But I didn't see any of the enemies, so I was like, okay, they're probably holding left. So I went out the opposite door and I waited for my opportunity to take a shot, and I took it and I killed the bat.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
I
definitely a huge play, just immediately just winning the fight. It did take around like 30 seconds for you guys to win it, but you won it pretty convincingly. And that's a really good way to deal with that hard strategy. You send most of your team out the left door, pop a Widow out the right side, and hope they can hit shots. And that's definitely something that you showed that you could do is hit those shots. But do you want to talk about what happened on second point where you were forced to swap off the Widowmaker? It was going so well up until then. Why'd you guys decide to make that switch?
Yeah, so Widow, like most long range characters, obviously thrives on the high ground, but we were attacking, so I it's not like I can just get to that position when we're defending. I kind of have to take it, and that point just has so many corners and so much cover, and I'd be on the low ground most of the time, so it would be really hard for me to kind of find a good position there without being noticed by any of the enemy team. So I kind of wanted to shift over to a character who could, um, do a little less damage, but have a little more mobility and be able to kind of be better at like off angling.
Right. I mean, off angling is definitely the name of the game on that point. It's so hard. Your tanks have to do a lot more work to make you space as that Widowmaker, especially if they're not comfortable with that. I think that was a smart swap. If you take a look at the screen now, we've got a couple of replays from the match, and we could talk about them as we go through them. Um, we're going to see this double sticky on Anubis here, catching two players playing close together. I mean, the Echo, especially on this first push, and especially on first point, that first push did so well. What were they able to do on second point Anubis that just shut you guys down?
I'm not actually entirely sure what happened because we had originally capped 2 ticks, and then we lost that fight, and then we needed to just capture one more tick, and I ended up copying the enemy team's Reaper and getting 5 kills with 2 separate Death Blossoms. But I think what ended up happening was our target focus kind of fell apart, and things just weren't dying, and they were able to come back really fast and take us out one by one.
And that's what we call a 2 CP moment, if we're being real here.
Yes,
I'm
we do.
so glad that mode is coming out. Like
Oh,
no
give me
hate to
both.
some of the maps. I think Hanamura is great, but it's 2 CP, and that mode's not great. It's very defender focused, especially on that second point. Um, but yeah, it seems like you guys were able to find a lot of success on Anubis on attack, but only when you had those 6 ult pushes. It's definitely a really hard point to siege, especially when you don't have like all that offensive firepower.
Yeah, it was definitely hard. A lot of our strategy actually came from playing to get nano boost. Our main support player, Joshi, was just grinding it out real quick, and our tank player, I think it was Akka, who was on Winston that game. He was just taking a lot of damage to get those nanos, but sometimes it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, that strategy definitely seemed to work out on first point. You just said, Monkey, take damage. And then you got a nano boost in like 30 seconds, and then you went in with the nano boost, and you guys won that first fight, and that was definitely something that looked really clean. But that's a little bit more difficult to do on B when they've got ults ready. You know, their spawn is right there, so that's definitely something that works in one place, but might not be as great on the other point.
Yeah, that first point is definitely attacker sided pretty well.
Right. Well, Jack, I mean, it was a short stream, but it was a full-size scrim for you guys. I hope that it was nice and valuable for you. It was great watching you guys play. I love watching Team 2. I love getting little updates on how you guys are doing. But thanks for coming on, Jack, and I wish you guys the best of luck.
Thank you, Connor. It was my pleasure to come on. I had a lot of fun, and I hope to see you guys around.
So from all of us at Now Loading Esports, thanks for watching. Tune in next Sunday for some more collegiate Overwatch action with Rick and Sponty. They'll be watching some Drexel scrims. And I'm Connor, and that's Zaya, my co-caster tonight. And thanks for watching.
Have a good night, guys.